Hello, everyone. My name is Gary Washington, and I'm here with my partner, Alicia Navarro, and we're here to analyze the Antico Cafe Greco case. First, we want to start with the overview. In the overview, we will look at the bluff, analysis, and conclusion. When it comes to bluff, in the short term, we feel like Antico Cafe Greco should pool the barista's efforts to serve a single line, and secondly, have the baristas attend training. However, in the long term, we feel like they should perform research analysis to determine customer preferences on implementation of automatic baristas and mobile ordering. The immediate improvement will result in expected waiting time in lines and systems to be 4.61 minutes and 6.11 minutes, respectively. Towards the analysis, we look at unpooled, 3 baristas untrained, that's the current process, and 3 baristas trained, 3 fully automated machines. When it comes to pooled, we're looking at 3 baristas untrained, 3 baristas trained, 3 full automated machines. And for as the unpooled, 4 baristas untrained, 4 baristas trained, 4 fully automated machines. And finally, we have the pool, which we'll look at the 4 baristas untrained, 4 baristas trained, 4 full automated machines.
Thanks, Gary. So for the analysis of the unpooled, we looked at the KPIs. So the first one was the time in line waiting, which is W sub Q. And we analyzed this in minutes. Then we looked at the time in the system, which is W sub S. And we also looked at the time in minutes. And then we looked at the simulation, which was a comparison. So the 2 methods we used were queuing and simulation, and they both look at ways to improve processes, but they have different methods of doing so, and they both have their pros and cons. So for the queuing methods, the 3 untrained baristas, which is the current process, the W sub Q was 14.95 minutes, the W sub S was 16.45, and the simulation came in at 15.69. The 3 trained baristas came in a bit lower at 14.42. The W sub S came at 15.92, and the simulation came at 15.56. And finally, for the 3 fully automated machines, the W sub Q came at 14.25, the W sub S 15.75, and then the simulation at 16.55. Now, as you can see, the simulation times are a little bit off, but in general, it's pretty similar. Next, we wanted to look at the pooled. So this included the 3 untrained baristas, 3 trained, and then the fully automated machines. Now for this one, the W sub Q for the untrained baristas was 14.78. The time in the system, W sub S, was 6.28, and then the simulation came in at 6.17. Now the 3 trained baristas came in a bit lower at 4.61 for W sub Q, 6.11 for W sub S, and then the simulation was 6.04. And then finally, for the fully automated, you had 4.55 for W sub Q, for W sub S at 6.05, and then the simulation was at 7.8. Now, the pooled analysis, the bolded section is the ones that we definitely recommend, which is the 3 baristas that were trained. And as you can see, the simulations did come in a bit closer to the actual times we got from the queuing. And then we also did an additional barista. So we have unpooled for that one. And the times are significantly lower for these with that additional barista. So W sub Q for the 4 untrained baristas is 1.95, W sub S 3.45, and the simulation came in at 3.38. The 4 trained baristas is 1.18 for W sub Q, 3.38 for W sub S, and 3.38 for the simulation. And then finally, the 4 fully automated machines, 1.86, 3.36, and 3.29. We also looked at adding the additional barista and then pulling the lines. So the W sub Q for the 4 untrained baristas, we had at 36 seconds. And the W sub S, we had at 1.51 minutes. And the simulation we had at 1.5. Now, as you can see, the additional baristas pulled, all of the times came out the same. So that definitely is very telling in terms of, you know, how having the additional barista and pulling the lines would impact the overall process. So based upon the KPIs that I just went over, high-level overview, pulling and training should be the first level of implementation. And this is because you're reducing that WQ, which is the time in line, from 14.95 minutes to 4.61 minutes. And that W sub S, which is the time in the system, is reduced from 16.45 minutes to 6.11 minutes. And what this is going to do, it's going to increase overall performance, and then it'll also accommodate the variability that you have in the service requests. And it's important to note that the barista utilization will still remain at that 95%. So the baristas are going to be highly utilized. They're going to be spending 95% of their time making drinks. Another thing is the variability will be reduced by 50% with the implementation of training. So that means there's going to be a standardization of the drinks that the baristas make. Additionally, the ambiance, which includes the historical significance and the artwork that ACG has, will also help decrease the perceived waiting times. In the future, if the research indicates that automation and mobile ordering is desired, you can also reduce the variability in perceived wait times. Additionally, if business and revenue increase, hiring that 4th server at full time, in addition to pulling and training, would reduce that time in line to 36 seconds and the time in the system to 1.51 minutes. And it will actually decrease the utilization to 17%. Back to you, Gary.
In conclusion, we feel like Auntie Cafe Greco should implement training and pooling in the short term, and in the long term, perform research to determine customer preference on implementation of automated barista and mobile ordering. Thank you for your time.